The kid that grew up in North Philly was a kid who really had no clue what the world would allow him to do. I thought that my neighborhood was bounded by Broad Street on one side and Connie Mack Stadium on the other side, and I never envisioned that I would have the kind of opportunity that I have here. When I came to this company, my first job here at Merck was as the head of communications and policy working for Roy Vagelos. Roy was a physician scientist, and I learned about the importance of science. More than 90% of what we think are good ideas are ultimately going to fail. Now, my father had Alzheimer's, and we had an opportunity, we thought, to develop a medicine, a compound that would have an impact. Failure isn't necessarily a bad thing because science progresses from incremental steps, and every time we fail, like in Alzheimer's, we learn something that puts us one step closer to the ultimate answer. In this business, we have a form of innovation that's really tough. It's called invention. We have to invent composition of matter, things that can be patented that never existed in the history of the world. So if you're going to do that, you're going to fail more often than you're going to succeed. Someone wrote an anonymous question for me to answer in a big public town hall. Don't you think the only reason you got this job is because the company wanted to have its first black vice president? And I said to my entire group, in my kitchen, my wife and I think, you're brilliant and you deserve it. That's the story that works in my kitchen, but it doesn't have to work in your kitchen. And somehow it broke the ice with the group, and I never had an issue after that. I represented a gentleman named Bo Cochran who was on death row in Alabama. When I first learned of what the facts were, it was really clear to me that there was a manifest injustice that had occurred in this case. When he finally got out, he refused to blame anybody for the 19 years. There was no recrimination, there was no anger, there was no resentment. And I think that what he showed me is what it means to be a human being who can forgive and can take the long view. Merck has a really strong set of values that go back to its founder, who said medicine is for the people, not for the profits. And that's what I try to do, is to try to bring a sense of the other folks, the people who are not heard, who are marginalized in society. How do we deal with the disparities that affect that specific group of people? And I was the son of a single-parent father who gave me the single most important leadership advice that I'd ever got in my life. He said to me, Kenny, what other people think about you is none of your damn business. And that has helped me tremendously in this job because it allows me to focus on what really makes a difference, which is how do we alleviate human suffering?